In a matchup of two of the hottest teams in the NBA, it went down to the wire as you might have expected, but the final 2 minutes after Andrew Nembhard did his best on both ends of the floor, the final 2 minutes went to the team with the best record in the Western Conference. Officially 9 straight victories for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are now 24-5 overall. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander making a strong case for NBA Most Valuable Player. He could not have been much better on this night as he scored 45. The Pacers playing better, but their 5-game win streak does come to an end tonight. 120-114, your final score. You're watching the Andy Moore Automotive Pacers Live postgame show. My name is Jeremiah Johnson. He is Eddie Gill, and the Pacers had a 107-103 lead. Somewhere between 3 and 4 minutes left to play. A timeout was called, and from that point on, the visitors dominated.
Yeah, there's no question about it. From that point on, someone told SGA it was closing time, and he went straight to work. He had a huge game. Obviously, it speaks for itself. But ultimately, this team also hangs their hat on the defensive end. Throughout the course of the night, they didn't really shoot the ball at a high percentage, although as it wore on, they started to get a little bit warmer and warmer, and he led the charge there alongside Jalen Williams. But defensively is where they hang their hat, and they've done it just throughout the entire season. Number one in defense is really highly touted and something that we've talked about. But to have him driving the bus and knowing that he can put it in another gear at any given time, and he did throughout this game.
Yeah, they were not their best all game long, but they were at their best when it mattered most. And this guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's a really good defender. He is on another planet in terms of offense. At least he showed a little bit of everything on this night.
Listen, when you think about 45 points on 22 shots, that shows you the importance of being able to get to the free throw line also. Not a volume guy, although he can get it done in that capacity as well. A solid three-point shooter, but just the pace of play that he has, I reference it. I think it's maybe the best in the game in terms of turning it on, going from slow to fast, back to slow again, gaining the space that he needs to get to his mid-range game. Does a very solid job of that. This possession here, the Pacers go to a 2-3 zone. Prior to that, they went to a little pick and roll situation where they brought Halliburton up, try to get a certain matchup. The Pacers make the adjustment, go to the 2-3 zone. He says, okay, fine, I'll just do a hesitation pull-up in a guy's face to really ice this game.
45 again. The Pacers had Andrew Nembhard and Pascal Siakam 23 and 22. And back to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's a 34% three-point shooter, and we talked before the game, that's maybe the one area where you can live with him taking some of those shots. But when he's throwing in a shot like he did, I think it was 112 or 111, yeah. 109. Looked like he was trying to draw a foul, and he hit that three, and that pretty much sealed the game.
Exactly, yeah, that's the one there against Mathurin where he's able to knock that down. But 34%, he's good enough to where you have to come out there. Otherwise, if he's shooting shots by himself, he's going to make all of them, right, or a large percentage of them. So he's good enough to where you have to come out there. But when you do, again, his change of pace game and the way he's able to knock you off balance a little bit, even though he's a little bit slight of frame, he's still able to garner enough space to knock down those mid-range shots with great regularity.
A couple different times the Pacers had a 7-point lead, and they would have liked to have extended it to double digits, but just could not, and the Thunder came back into the game. Much more still to come here on the FanDuel Sports Network. This is their Pacers rebound. They have the ball down 2 under a minute to play, but it was not to be on this night. Indiana Members Credit Union presents the final stats. And again, I think defensively, a better effort. You allowed them to get to the paint a little bit too much, and some second chance opportunities were costly in the second half.
Yeah, and they were crucial ones in which they were able to get there. Thought they did a better job overall rebounding because there were 7 offensive rebounds that the Oklahoma City Thunder were able to get in the first half. They only get 2 in the second, but it was the timing of the ones that they were able to come up with and just not being able to control the basketball. And give this Thunder team credit. They know when and how to tighten the screws there against the Pacers, especially down the stretch. The Pacers could not manufacture clean looks.
And one of the keys over the last couple of weeks of the Pacers' solid play, they returned to health of guys like Ben Sheppard and Andrew Nembhard. An injury casualty, if you will, in this game is Obi Toppin. You see him sprained that ankle, did go back to the locker room, came in and played, but you know when this happens, sometimes halftime, it can swell up a little too much to return.
Definitely, and there's a handful of guys throughout the entire NBA that when they go down, and their health off the court, you know that it's something that's more significant. Obi Toppin is one of those guys because it is hard to get him off the floor. Just simply put, he is going to make himself available on significantly more nights than not. So hopefully he's able to recover soon.
A lot of games this week, including a game tomorrow at Boston. We will see about the status of Obi Toppin. More reactions from this one. Let's check in with head coach Rick Carlisle.
Defense before the game, 19 allowed in the first quarter for you guys, but then 67 in the second half. What kind of shifted on that end that helped OKC get going?
Well, I can't tell you exactly everything that happened, but we allowed them to get their rhythm going. They sped the game up. Gilgeous-Alexander really got going toward the end of the half. We still had a lead at halftime. Look, the game's tied at 107 with 2.5. I mean, it was really make or miss going down the stretch. And, the three that he hit up on top was a hellacious shot. Mathurin was right in his face. And, that was the deciding shot, probably. We had a couple of other okay looks that didn't go down. And then, the offensive foul call on Nembhard was a tough one. I didn't have a great angle. I just watched it. The game was so physical, you would think that something like that might be a play on, but the whistle blew, and so we got unlucky.
Looked like you guys played through Andrew a little bit more than Tyrese in this game. What was the thinking behind that strategy for this one?
I'm sorry?
I feel like you guys played through Andrew a little more as the ball handler setting up tonight than Tyrese. What was the thinking behind that?
Well, it's, a lot of it has to do with the matchups. Coming into this game, it was the kind of game where we really knew that the best chance for us was to keep the game as random as possible, keep pace and movement in the game. And when you do that, it's hard to gauge exactly where the ball goes. And so, Tylee ended up with 4 points and 6 shots, but they committed Lou Dort to him. And Lou Dort's as good a defender as there is in the league right now. So, that had a lot to do with it as well.
How's Obi Toppin's ankle coming off of this? And what did you think about just the minutes you got from Jarace, particularly down the end of the stretch of the third quarter?
Yeah, Obi tried to go back out. It didn't seem like it was that bad initially, and then he felt it when he went back out. So, I certainly assume he'll miss tomorrow, and we'll see. He's been a guy that's bounced back quickly. Jarace did some good things. I love the aggression that he's showing right now. He's been rebounding the ball, and now is a great opportunity that's going to be presented to him with Obi probably missing some time.
Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle. Andrew Nembhard continues to impress. He was given more responsibility, ball handling, scoring, always a lot of defensive responsibility, and he stepped up, Eddie.
Yeah, listen, the question was asked, him being able to facilitate and going to him more often. My answer would have been he was effective. He was out there getting it done. I love his resiliency really on both ends of the floor. SGA obviously gets it going a little bit, but he's attacking the entire time offensively as well and having success.
9 rebounds, 7 assists, near triple-double numbers in a 6-point loss to the Thunder.